pretty much an extension of that. And thinking back to the days when I was in my early adult years, and a lot of the mistakes I made with money, right? So just wanted to kind of give young people a resource they can use to help them learn that information early on, like get the basic, understanding of how money works and what they can do to help, save and, prepare for the future. So just putting that in a book form, kind of helps them a long way. Because again, also back then I was doing a lot of workshops using other books, like The Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And often.
Are you looking to buy or sell your home, but not quite sure if now is the right time? Well, contact Morgan & Co. and allow them to help you make that decision. Morgan & Co. is a leading, top producing company in Central Virginia. Contact Morgan & Co. today at 804-874-6806 or anytime, day or night, at www.morganandcorealty.com. Now back to the episode. Welcome to the Success Leaves Clues podcast, where I find regular people doing extraordinary and phenomenal things in corporate America and entrepreneurship. And of course, I'm your host, Dr. K. I have with me today Kerwyn Phillip.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amazing entrepreneur, financial advisor, author, and probably more than I even know about. So go ahead and introduce yourself to us.
Yes. How you doing? My name is Kerwyn Phillip. I'm an author. My first book I released in January, Malik's First Job, Financial Principles for Teens. I'm also the president and co-founder of the Youth Business Exchange, which is a nonprofit organization that supports youth entrepreneurs. We do an annual event, the Richmond Children's Business Fair, which is a platform marketplace that allows youth entrepreneurs between the ages of 5 and 17 to promote their products and services to the general public.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Not only doing something for yourself, but a whole lot for the community and giving back.
Yes.
What made you want to do something that gives back?
Oh, man. I had the opportunity to do different things in life, being able to go to school, go to college, education, things of that sort. And just want to be able to give back to those, help my community, by sharing the information that I've learned throughout the years. Every kid is not going to go to college. Every kid is not going to go pursue their MBA and stuff like that. But you have kids that have aspirations and want to do better and do great things. And they just need some type of mentorship or some guidance on how to get to where they want to be.
Yeah. What type of mentorship did you have growing up?
Oh, man. Growing up in Brooklyn, right, I think the time when I grew up, it was like it was more community oriented, right, where the entire neighborhood, looked out for the young people. Now, there was two groups that the community looked after, the elders and the youth, right? So I grew up amongst a bunch of good brothers that made sure that, that the kids in the neighborhood, stayed out of trouble, that they were had some guidance, some mentorship, things of that sort. They made sure that we stayed out of trouble. They had basketball courts that they built on abandoned buildings, right? Whereas as opposed to us going to other neighborhoods that could possibly get into trouble, we could play ball on the block right there and be protected. And play basketball, football, skelly, different street games. But again, they kept it within that same community. So. They had, the older guys looked out for us.
Yeah, that's good. Did you have somebody in particular, or was it just the nature of the community kind of, it takes a village to raise a child type mentality, or was it one person in particular that helped you out?
I think it was more so the village. Of course, I had my parents at home, my dad, my mom, they gave me guidance as well. But then when I was outside the home, the extension was the guys in the neighborhood that really looked out. They kind of set the example, as far as, what we should do for others.
Yeah. And then tell me a little bit more about the nonprofit, kind of what's the mission? I know you said you help youth entrepreneurs, but how long has it been around? And just give me a little bit more about the...
Oh, wow. So we started back in, this is the 5th year. Well, next year will be the 5th year of us doing the business fair.
Okay.
So going back 5 years back in, I think 2018. It got me doing math in my head right now. But it was myself, me and Sean Young. We had a different organization called the Ndugu Business and Leadership Academy, where we wanted to do, do workshops and mentorship for young people, teaching about business and leadership. And then I was doing a speech at an event for another brother who has a library, Hassan Fountain. You know, he does community library. He opens up libraries and community centers and stuff like that. And at the event, I met CJ Walker, and she was she still is the founder of the Metro RVA Teens.
Okay.
Right. That was another youth-oriented organization to help provide information to parents about things going on in the Richmond community. And we had a conversation. She said she had the idea of putting together a business fair. And that's something that me and Sean had a conversation about prior. Yeah. You know, so we said, so I went back to Sean, I'm like, I met this young lady. She has the idea similar to what we was talking about putting together a business fair. There's no need to, you know, if we're trying to work towards the same thing, let's all come together. So we did the first one at the Science Museum of Virginia. We got together, we organized it. CJ had the blueprint on how to put it together. We helped her do it. And then from there, we decided to, all work together. And then we formed a nonprofit, the Youth Business Exchange.
Okay. And is it still all three of you, or
yes.
Did CJ back out? Or
no, it's all three of us.
All three.
All three of us still do it. Right now, we're planning for the 2022 business fair.
Right.
Yeah.
What type of stuff goes into planning for something like that? I know it's pretty big. I mean, I came out to it this year, but so your last one, and it was phenomenal. The amount of youth entrepreneurs that were out there, and not only the youth that were out there, but the type of businesses that these kids have started is impressive. It kind of puts a lot of pressure on us as adults. Like, what are we doing wrong? Yeah. But my question is, what type of stuff goes into getting them going?
Oh man, just a lot of planning. You know, interacting with the parents. You know, finding children that are interested in participating. Because we see now that there's a huge surge in youth entrepreneurship. Children are seeing, their favorite celebrities venture into business, and that's motivating them to want to get into business as well. You know, with social media, you know, they're seeing everyone getting into it. You know, so they want to, you know, kind of mimic what they're seeing. You know, and they want to make their own money. So finding kids that are interested in participating, as well as, you know, locking a venue down, getting sponsors to help pay for all the expenses that go into putting the event together. You know, making sure that children understand what's expected, you know, as far as what it takes to sell and engage with the general public in different things like that. So we also partner with the Metropolitan Business League. Oh, yeah. You know, and they have a youth program as well. And we encourage our children to go through their workshops, right, where they can get the on-hands business skills and stuff like that, the communication skills. And then from there, they'll be able to come and work with us as far as our program that we have every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So putting on an event like that, you mentioned a lot of stuff you need as far as monetary. You need donations and sponsorship and things like that. How can people get in touch with either yourself or the organization if they want to participate or make donations?
Or they can just reach out to us. Our email address is youthbusinessexchange@gmail.com. Okay. They can reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, because right now we're rebuilding our website now. So just email us, or they can give me a call. My phone number is 706-372-1605. And they can reach out to me, and we can kind of have that conversation of how they can help out.
Okay, I'll make sure I put all that information in the description, and also whatever links so people can make sure they access it. Yeah. But outside of the organization, what else do you have personally? You're an author, correct?
Yeah. Like I said, I have the book Malik's First Job: Financial Principles for Teens. Okay. Yeah, that I put out earlier this year.
All right. And what's the premise of the book?
Man, it's about a young man that goes on his first job interview. Then shortly thereafter, he realizes that he needs to learn how to manage his money. So he sits down with his dad, and his dad, you know, kind of shares with him 9 principles on how to manage his finances. Just, you know, some information that can kind of help him, you know, get ahead.
All right. Yeah. And your background is in finance?
Yeah, I have my bachelor's in accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what made you want to package all of that up into a book and help people out that way?
Well, you know, it kind of stems from the work that Sean and I was doing, as far as, you know, trying to do workshops, teaching kids about business and financial literacy. So just pretty much an extension of that. and thinking back to the days when I was in my early adult years, and a lot of the mistakes I made with money, right? So just wanted to kind of give young people a resource they can use to help them learn that information early on, like get the basic, understanding of how money works and what they can do to help, save and, prepare for the future. So just putting that in a book form, kind of helps them a long way. Because again, also back then I was doing a lot of workshops using other books, like The Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, when we speak to kids in our community, some of the characters and the storylines in the book they couldn't relate to. Right, so I wanted to find a way. How can I take that same information and package it in a format or in a scenario or a scenery that relates to them? Because the book is based in Brownsville, Brooklyn, where I'm from. A shopping area known as Pitkin Avenue. People in Brooklyn know it's like a shopping district. It's just like how Broad Street used to be in Richmond back in the day, right? And how it was just jumping and a lot of businesses. And so every community has a shopping district that's in the neighborhood that people can, shop. So he's in the neighborhood, a local business owner, a sneaker store. A lot of our kids are into sneakers, right, and clothing. So again, the whole scenario is fitting for what our kids relate to, right? And again, they can learn how to not just manage money, but there's other elements I put inside the book as well. Like how to prepare for a job interview, how to conduct yourself during a job interview.
Man,
right?
A lot of people aren't even discussing like the preparation it takes for a job interview and things like that. That's impressive. Yeah,
because I think back to like one of my first job interviews, I was sent home. Because I didn't come dressed appropriately, right? Sitting there in the office because, it was in Manhattan, and back then you went through the newspaper and you said, oh, this person's hiring. Oh, interviews on Wednesday, so you just show up on Wednesday. So showed up there, didn't have a suit or anything like that, so I wore what I had. I had some jeans, I had a button-up shirt, right? I think I had some casual shoes, and when I got there, sitting in the waiting room, I'm looking around and everybody else is suited up. Right. And I'm the guy looking very, very casual. Right. So then the gentleman came out and he looked at me. He said, come in my office. Let me talk to you for a minute. Right. So I went in there, sat down. He said, now you see how everybody else is out there dressed? And I'm like, yeah. He said, okay, you see how you're dressed? I'm like, yeah. He said, this is what I want you to do. He said, I want you to go home, come back tomorrow, come dress appropriately, then we'll do the interview at that point in time. So I left, ended up going downtown Brooklyn, went to a sporting goods store, cause I was like, because back then I didn't have no money to buy no clothes, and my mother's at work, and trying to do that whole thing would have been too hectic. So I just went, the rest of the day I wasn't doing anything, so I just went walking around downtown Brooklyn, ended up getting a job at a sporting goods store. They were hiring, put an application in. The gentleman said, okay, come back tomorrow. I ended up working there. So I never went back.
So you never went back to the one in Manhattan?
Nah, I never went back. Never went back. But it always stood out to me that the gentleman was willing to give me another chance, because he didn't have to do that. Right? He could have came, did the interview, knowing that he wasn't going to hire me, and then just not say anything. But he took time to make it a learning, educational lesson at that point in time. And I appreciate that. And that's his way of giving back. So it's things like that happen throughout life that make you want to give back to others because people looked out for you in that same fashion.
Yeah, they gave you an opportunity. So it's only right that you pass that on.
Right.
But that's a very valuable lesson because a lot of youth, they feel like the way they dress at school or the way they dress around with their friends is going to be acceptable at a job, and that's not necessarily the case. It kind of, obviously it depends on the career path you're going for.
Right.
But I've even seen people who are have certain majors in school, and that university makes them dress a certain part. Like if you're a business major at most HBCUs, actually, they make you come dressed professionally at least one day a week for that class or whatever. So that's a very valuable lesson.
I think back then we didn't do it. We didn't do that back then. But I think it's something that's done now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where'd you go to school at? Speaking of HBCUs.
Oh yeah, definitely. Morgan State University.
Okay.
Yeah, is where I got my undergrad in accounting. Yeah.
And what made you choose not only Morgan State but HBCU in general?
Well, back then it was 'Cause my cousin went there.
Okay.
Right. What happened? Growing up I went to a private school, predominantly, Caucasian private school.
Okay.
In high school in Manhattan, and it came time for me to go to college. I had a couple schools that wanted me to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was trying to keep keep it as basic as possible. So I applied to 3 schools. It was SUNY at Albany.
Uh-huh.
They want me to play football there. Stony Brook. They want me to play football. And then I can't remember if I went to Morgan before I applied to them, or I may have went before. But my cousin again went to Morgan, uh-huh. and I had an unofficial visit.
Okay.
Right. So it was Easter break my senior year. I went to go visit Albany on that Sunday. Right. Then I was supposed to go to Morgan that Monday, and then when I got back, I was gonna stay there like 2 days. Then when I got back, I was going to Stony Brook the following Friday. Mm-hmm. So I went to Albany. It snowed the night before, right? So there was about like 6 feet of snow across the whole campus. Yeah. Right? And then the recruiter's like, yeah, it snows like this on a regular basis. Uh-huh. And I'm like, oh, okay. So mental note, I'm not going here. Yeah. Right? So already made my decision after seeing the snow. Okay, Albany is not where I'm going. Yeah. Right? So came back Monday, got on Amtrak, went to Morgan. Okay. Right? And I stayed in my cousin's dorm, for a couple of days, went to class with him, hung around campus. And just the whole vibe. Mm-hmm. Because back then you had like Different World, Cosby Show, stuff like that. Yeah. So seeing that in real life, it's like, oh yeah, this is, it was just lit. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm going here. This is where I'm going. Yeah. Right. So then when I got back from Morgan, got back to New York, I called the recruiter from Stony Brook. I was supposed to go there on Friday. Okay. And I'm like, I'm not coming. He was like, at least come see the campus. I'm like, look, I'm not gonna waste your time. Yeah. I'm not wasting my time. I visited Morgan State this week. Yeah. I'm going to Morgan State. Yeah. That's it. Did
you end up playing ball for them, or you just?
I wanted to initially, but then when I got there, because I wasn't recruited. Okay. I had sent them tapes and all that, but just never, never came out of anything. So I said I was gonna sit out my first year, then try out my second year, but got to hanging out and chilling. I seen the football players going out early in the morning. Oh. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I'll pass. So I'm good. So,
but you obviously, in order to try to play for college, you played high school at least.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I played high school.
Earlier years than that too, or just high school?
I tried to do like Pop Warner. Okay. Like when I was like, I had friends, that did the Pop Warner like 7th, 8th grade, and it wasn't my time yet. They had me running laps, and I couldn't keep up. Because at the time, it was like weight class. It was based on weight. Yeah. And I was 12, 13. But because of my weight, I would have to play with the 16-year-olds. Yeah. And I wasn't really conditioned to play with the 16-year-old kids. Yeah. I couldn't hang with them at that point in time. So I ended up, I probably went to a couple practices, and then end up just stop going. But I didn't play until I got to high school. My freshman year is when they had a freshman football team, and then that was when I first started playing. Yeah. We played street ball and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. But as far as organized, it was my freshman year in high school.
Was that your only sport or any others?
I wanted to play basketball, right? Because, basketball season comes right after football season. Yeah. So we were still like kind of wrapping up football, and a friend of mine came downstairs into the gym, like in the locker room, and he said, the basketball coach said, any football players interested in playing basketball need to come to the gym right now. Yeah. Right. So I said, okay, bet. I wanted to, because we played ball on the block. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play ball. Yeah, I can play ball. All right. So ended up going, when I walked into the gym, like they were practicing, they were doing suicides, and I saw them doing suicides. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'll pass.
If they were doing anything else, if they were running like regular drills, I'd have did it. But my first impression, the first impression when I saw basketball was running, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. So that changed the course of history, because if they was doing anything else, I'd probably play basketball and football.
Yeah, you're right.
But
from your experience with football, though, did you get any valuable lessons that have helped you throughout life? Because a lot of people that I talk to that are successful, they all have that common thread when it comes to sports.
Yeah. Yeah, in football, you learn to, you suffer losses.
Yeah.
But even though you may suffer a loss, like, let's say not a loss of the game, but let's say if you miss a block or you miss a tackle and the other team scores, right? You still have another chance. Okay, I can try to score against them, or I have another chance to try to stop them, right? So even though you may have lost this particular individual battle, the whole game is like the war, right?
Yeah.
So you haven't lost the war. You can still win the war if you lose this individual battle. So I may be locked in with offensive. I play defensive tackle.
Okay.
So the offensive lineman may be able to block me in this play, but I got another chance to try at it again.
Yeah.
Right. So the same thing with business or even life. You may fail at certain things, but there's always another opportunity for you to try again and do better. Right.
Yeah.
Or perhaps you may engage with the offensive lineman. It's okay. You see, okay, he has a tendency to lean this way or do this. So then you learn from that. Then you come back again and you try to use that to your advantage. Yeah. So, to teach you to bounce back, after you you may have a setback, let's try again.
Yeah, the speed in which you recover, especially in life and in business, is very important because some people stay down just too long and then they kind of get swallowed up in that negativity or that kind of circular reasoning, and they start doubting themselves and things like that. So you learned a valuable lesson early.
Yeah, of course, teamwork. You can't. You're not going to beat the other team by yourself. You have other guys, 11 men on the field, or 10 other men on the field working with you to help defeat this other team. Yeah. And everyone has a role to play, right? If I'm the offensive lineman, my job is to block. I can't block and run the ball, right? So I got to, as they say, stay in your lane, do what you do, and as long as everybody works together, then we can see, success, as a team and not as an individual. Because even though the running back gets glorified for scoring a touchdown, it's the offensive lineman who had to create the hole for him to get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's not something that's done by itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that works in business for you probably more times than you can count.
Yep. Yeah.
So everything that you've done with your life just seems like it's so much geared towards giving back, and not only giving back to the community, but specifically for children. Like you just have a true passion for our youth.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to know what are your next steps? What do you see going forward?
I have other books to write. I have a podcast coming out soon. Yeah. Which I'm gonna have you on as well.
Thank you.
The Malik's First Job podcast coming soon. So just trying to expand my reach. Get into the school system. Just trying to help more children. Okay. Right? 'Cause, they're the future. Right? All the problems that we see today, they'll only change, if the people change. And a lot of us are older. We can't, we can try to change, but we can only we can't correct the mistakes we made because we made those mistakes. But we can always go back and teach those that's coming behind us so that they don't make the same mistakes that we did and they have a better advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's a good one, man.
Yeah.
I never really thought about it like that. Obviously, you can't correct your mistakes, but just really putting it in that perspective, it's an eye opener.
Yeah.
So you talk about getting into the schools. One thing a lot of people talk about that they're really upset with is that our schools don't teach financial literacy. They don't teach kids even the minimum things on how to budget or how to fill out a check and things of that nature. And you're talking about you want to get into schools.
Right.
Have you already tried, and are you seeing any pushback from the education system?
Well, actually, there's certain states that mandate financial literacy in high schools. Okay. And Virginia happens to be one of them. Oh. So it's taught like the sophomore year. There's an economics and personal finance class that's taught at the high school level, where they cover, like pay yourself first and assets versus liabilities and stuff like that. So it's taught there. Okay. But I feel like my book can be a supplement, to what they teach inside in the school system as well, right? Because again, it's still relatable information, and it can help. Because sometimes the information that you get in the classroom may be more rigid. Yeah. But the book is something the kid could take home and read at their leisure. Right, and there'll be information they want to read, right? Because the book is interesting, it's engaging, they can relate to the characters, right? And they'll be able to absorb the information that way as well, right? So perhaps, let's say, if they take the class their sophomore year, if they read the book the summer before their sophomore year, they'll already be familiar with some of the terminology and stuff like that, which would be easier for them to understand, okay, what's coming from the curriculum that's coming within the classroom.
Excellent. Yeah, I see that.
Right.
So you're not really looking to be a part of the curriculum or go into schools and teach a portion of it. You're just trying to have your book as a part of the lesson plan or reading requirements, like summer reading requirements.
Yeah, and I can also come to the schools too and, kind of help. I've taught in the public school system as well for a short period of time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I took a stab at that.
Oh, what'd you teach?
Economics and personal finance.
Okay. What grade level?
It was the sophomores in high school.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're well experienced with it.
I guess it was a short period of time I did it.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but it was an experience. I learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that you have that are your aspirations except for your next books that are coming?
I'm trying to think. Like I said, I got the podcast coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Tell
me about the podcast. What's it going to be geared towards?
Yeah, so it's called, as I said, Malik's First Job Podcast, kind of based off the book.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to provide information, resources to parents and teens in areas of financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and leadership.
Okay.
Yeah, so just giving them information and resources that can help them, guide, help raise the kids and learn about different information.
That's good. Something that they can take with them and listen to often and help them digest things that they're learning either at school or through the book.
Yeah, because raising teenagers, they have like a lot that they have to absorb. They're getting ready for college. Okay, well, what's the student loan what's the college application process?
Yeah.
Okay, student loans. Do I have to get a student loan? Is there other ways I can finance for school? Buying my first car, get my first apartment, things of that sort. Just kind of give them that supplemental information to help them as they transition into adulthood.
Yeah.
And some of the things parents don't even know themselves, that they may not be able to teach it, but they can lean on the information in the podcast to help them supplement what they don't know.
You're right, parents don't know. I'm one of them. Speaking from a financial standpoint, what is the best age to start saving or preparing for college? I know Virginia is one of the states that have I forget the name of the 529
program.
Is that a good program, or do you see it a different way of funding college to be better?
I think from what I understand about the 529, it's a great program. And you had asked earlier about when's a good time to start. The earlier you prepare, the more time you have, right? Okay. So I think from the time the child is born, that gives you 18 years to save. And if you understand the rule of 72 and the science of compound interest, that gives you 18 years for your money to double. Right. It's depending upon the interest rates you have. I think I don't want to quote the wrong number, but I know that the 529, from what I understand, it's higher than the interest rate is either at the rate of inflation or a little bit higher, like about 4 or 5%. Okay. Then you have to check it online just to make sure. Yeah. Seek out a financial advisor to get the right numbers. But if you were able to invest, put some money into the side, $100. Let's say you get paid every 2 weeks. That's $100 every 2 weeks. That's $2,600 a year. Mm. That's 10 years. That's $26,000. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And let's say 20. That's almost 20 years. Let's say 18. Let's say 20 years. So that's $52,000. Yeah. That's not even counting the interest that you earn on it. Mm-hmm. Right. From it doubling. So, if you were able to give your child $52,000. At least, for college, that's depending upon where they go. They can go to community college. Yeah. Then they have some extra money to play with. Okay. So it's different ways. You just got to plan. Okay. As they say, if you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So if you start earlier on, the earlier you start, the better.
All right. Yeah. So I'll definitely make sure. I can't do it now. My daughter is in her senior year, so not for her, but for my youngest son, I could definitely start looking into something like the 529. Yeah,
but even for your older child, your child is ready to get ready for college, you can look into scholarships. Mm-hmm. There's several websites you can go to that have databases for scholarships. I've learned that oftentimes people they'll look at something, I probably won't even get that, and they don't apply for it, and the money still sits out there. Yeah, you won't know until you try. And there's also scholarships for kids as young as 5 years old. What? Yeah, if some of the databases have a whole listing of I think Google has like an art scholarship. They draw a pitch and submit it. They can get a couple dollars that goes towards their college education, stuff like that. So you just have to research it and see what's out there.
Yeah, start putting the time and energy into looking those things up early, like you just said.
Yep.
I didn't even know there was a such thing as all those different scholarships. I thought pretty much academic and athletic scholarships. I didn't know
there's all kind of money.
All right.
I remember even we had the Morgan State alumni chapter here in Richmond. We had some funds that nobody applied for it, so the funds that sat there until someone finally applied for it and they got it. It was just sitting there. We was like, okay, we was begging people to apply for the scholarship, and people was just didn't apply. But then finally, someone did, and he was able to get the.
Yeah, for that particular scholarship, is that for people who attend Morgan State?
Yeah, we had people going to Morgan State.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's other alumni associations go through the same thing, where they have funds to give away, and it's like kids just aren't applying. Either they don't know that it's available, or they just aren't jumping on it.
Yeah, don't want to take the time. Yeah, because some of it can be a lot to write an essay or do something like that, but you've got to be willing to go for it. Like you said, you don't know until you try for it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. What about other financial advice that you give for people and their children? I know you do a lot of investing for your kids. Can you tell me how either myself or the viewers can start investing for their children? Oh, wow. There's
several brokerage apps that allow you to open up custodial accounts for your children. You have, I believe, Ally Bank. I think TD Ameritrade allows you to open up accounts for your children.
Okay.
I recently signed up for another one called Greenlight, right? Because what happened, I had an Ally account, but my kids didn't have visibility into it. I was putting money away, but they couldn't see it.
Okay.
Right. So I wanted to get something where my kids would have visibility and see how the money's growing. So with Greenlight, they're able to get their own debit card. They can download the app, and they can see the money being put in and the activity that's taking place as they're investing. So I got that. So again, you have to do some more research. There's several different apps out there, and you can just invest. For your children, have them see it, and they can learn the process of investing from there.
So with those type of accounts, is it are you talking about bank accounts? Or are you talking about investing in stocks?
It's stock accounts.
Stock accounts.
Stock accounts. Like my son, he has being the fact that he's into Nike. Now he has shares of Nike, partial shares of Nike stock.
Wow.
Right. And that way, I try to show him to be don't just be a consumer. Have the mindset of an owner. So now, I guess when the time comes and he starts seeing dividends, he can see, okay, when Nike made a profit this year, right? Because all you and your friends out there buying shoes, now you got some of that profit back. You can get some money back. Just have that different mindset as opposed to saying, okay, I want to wear the Nikes and look fresh. No, understand, okay, with all your friends looking fresh, know that every time you see them buying those new J's, right, it's cha-ching, it's going to come back to you.
So you can still have the shoes and enjoy life and things like that, but also had a mindset that I'm going to invest and become, a shareholder.
Yeah, and then that way you can have the conversations like, okay, well, now you are part owner of Nike, or perhaps with my daughter, she had Apple, right? Because she has an iPhone and stuff like that. So now that, okay, well, you own a piece of Apple. And now they want to pay more attention to what's taking place. You can kind of show them different headlines when things happen, when the prices go up and down, and how it impacts, different things. And again, you can have those conversations. Those conversations help teach them, how the whole system works.
Yeah, so it's real life training and application.
Right.
So when they get into something like that app that you have a custodial account for them, you said they can monitor it. Are they able to move the stocks and stuff around, or are they just able to kind of monitor the price went up and went down?
Well, they can if they want to. The thing is with the app, if they wanted to sell some shares, they'll put in the request, but it comes back to me and I have to approve it.
Right.
That's
good.
Yeah, okay. Even with Greenlight, they have the function whereas it's a debit card. They get a debit card, and the kids can spend money and stuff like that, and the parents get a chance to monitor how the kids are spending money through the app.
Okay.
So you can kind of help teach them the discipline and stuff like that, saving and everything like that.
Yeah, so there is a little bit of a checks and balances with it. It's not just
they did out there willy-nilly.
But I was going to say if they're learning, they might get too ahead of themselves and say, okay, I want to start actually trading some of these stocks or selling them, and it may not be the best move for them.
Right. Right. Yeah, kind of like last week, I transferred some money into the account, and I told my son, "Yeah, go ahead and buy some stuff." I told my daughter, here's $20, go spend it on whatever you want as far as stocks.
Yeah.
And when they did the transactions, then it sent an alert to my phone saying, "Okay, well, your son is trying to buy this. Is it okay?" You said, "Okay, approve it."
All right.
Yeah. So it's there's checks and balances behind it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get into that, set those up. I don't have any custodial accounts for my kids. Only thing I've been doing is kind of saving on their behalf.
Right.
But it's not anything that they can have visibility into.
Right.
I think that'd be an awesome lesson for them.
Yeah. Again, that way you can have the conversation. They can see it and they learn firsthand.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they get inquisitive, ask their own questions, and I can dig deeper, or maybe point them to your direction.
Yeah.
So I don't know finances as well as you.
Yeah. I'm not an expert. There's a man who made a lot of mistakes in the past that learned from those mistakes.
Okay.
Yeah. But I tell people all the time, you can read a book about riding a bike.
Yeah.
Or you can actually get on the bike and ride and see what it is, right? Because you can read a book all day, but until you get on that bike and start trying to balance yourself is when you're going to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So the same thing, you can read a whole bunch of books about money, or you can have conversations about money, but until you actively start participating and doing different things with money, that's when you actually learn how things go.
All right, I'll make sure I'm going to start implementing immediately. Believe me.
Yeah.
Believe me. So I just want to kind of recap. What I do is this is Success Leaves Clues podcast. So I try to point out a few clues that at least I identified, during our time together.
Okay.
And hopefully the viewers found those same clues, and hopefully they found even more, and they'll comment and share a few with me.
Okay.
But one thing I found is you talked about having a coach and a mentor and your village community. And I know that's important. That's something I feel like we have gotten away from in society in general.
Yes.
But I think, I'm not going to get into why, but I think people are a little bit in their feelings, and they don't like people to be involved in their kids.
I think what it is, everyone is, I guess, is individual. Everyone is individualized. Okay, as long as I have, I got my food in my fridge, cable TV, everything. Okay, I'm good. I don't have to worry about nothing that goes on outside the house.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. But again, when I came up, everyone lived, in the community. Everyone grew up in the community. You knew, okay, that's so and so's son. That's so and so's mother, right? Okay, that's little Johnny. He may be acting a fool now, but I knew him since I raised him since he was small. Yeah. Oh, that's the wino in the corner. Yeah, he ain't gonna bother nobody. He just gonna sit out there and drink and do whatever, right? Yeah. Or the guys out in the corner. Yeah, whatever. They do their thing, but they still look out for the community. Yeah. Right. Again, and they had respect for the elders because everyone knew each other, right? But now, you have a time when people they transition, they go to college, they move away, so it's not that same community feeling. Whereas you were born and raised in that area, it's like now people are strangers and you don't trust anybody. Yeah, it was so funny is that the other day I was coming home from Walmart one night. And I was driving down Brook Road, and I see this gentleman, he had on his work uniform. Okay. Right. It was pitch black. He's walking down the road. I'm like, man, I would like to offer him a ride, because it's pitch black out here. It's cars, and he's walking on the side of the road. But I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. He may come in. He may try to do something to me. Mm-hmm. Then I'm saying, well, I may try to go off him a ride. He may look at me and be like, he don't know me. He don't know you. Right. So it's just like, man, it's just so sad in the world that we live in, that we don't trust each other anymore. Yeah. And it's kind of, you see that's collapse of society. Yeah. Yeah. Dang. Man, we got to get back to the community, though. We got to get back to it. I touched about that. I talk about it in the book, too. Community is common unity. Where we look out for each other, work together to make things happen.
All right. There's a lot in that book. Don't miss it. So like I said, I'll make sure they have access not only to your nonprofit and being able to find out what type of events, but also to the book, so they can get that resources. Valuable. All right, I want to make sure they get that in their hands too. But outside of that, I did notice outside of the community, but you talked a lot about investing early and being able to help your kids understand finances and things like that. That's a major ticket. And then another one that I took away was a big one is, kind of to sum it up, but dress for success, just being the part that you want to have. Oh. And, you kind of learn that the hard way. I've learned it the hard way. I've actually been through a similar scenario. Mm-hmm. So I definitely want to take those, with me. And I hope that the viewers can take that with them. Yes. And please, like I said, comment anything else that you pointed out, because Kerwyn is a wealth of knowledge, and he gave us a whole lot. Yeah. All right. Cool. As always, I just want to remind everybody that nothing is impossible. If you dream it, you can achieve it. Until next time on the Success Leaves Clues podcast.